The video documents a severe industrial failure in a tire service center, stemming from the catastrophic rupture of a large tire assembly during servicing. The footage shows a worker in close proximity to a heavy equipment tire that is being inflated. Due to a sudden, high-pressure failure, the tire assembly undergoes a violent, concussive explosion, and the resulting blast wave catapults the worker forcefully across the entire shop area. This incident emphasizes the critical and non-negotiable need for strict adherence to safety protocols for tire servicing, including the mandatory use of robust tire inflation cages for all high-pressure tires. Furthermore, it highlights the importance of remote inflation techniques to maintain a safe distance and rigorous pre-service inspection of tire and rim components to prevent such a catastrophic energy release and severe impact to personnel. The video documents an incident in a livestock facility where a worker is attempting to manage and contain multiple pigs. The footage shows a man positioned at an opening, attempting to physically prevent the pigs from escaping or moving to an unauthorized area. As the man tries to block their path, the pigs suddenly jump or rush forward, resulting in a significant collision with the man and knocking him down by the combined force of the animals. This incident highlights the critical need for mandatory use of proper gates and physical barriers for livestock containment, and emphasizes the danger of relying solely on manual force to manage large or fast-moving animals, which can easily lead to crush and impact injuries. The video documents a severe industrial failure in a manufacturing or workshop setting, highlighting the extreme dangers of rotating machinery and inadequate safeguarding. The footage clearly shows a worker operating in close, immediate proximity to a large, high-speed, operational machine component. Due to a critical lapse in safety procedures, the worker inadvertently made contact with the rapidly spinning part, resulting in a sudden, violent entanglement and pull-in to the rotating axis. This incident serves as a stark and powerful reminder of the absolute necessity of mandatory machine guarding to shield personnel from all moving and pinch points. The strict enforcement of lockout, tagout, tegout protocols for any required machine interaction, and the non-negotiable prohibition of loose clothing or jewelry near rotating equipment to eliminate catastrophic entanglement hazards. The video captures a severe near-miss industrial incident in a factory setting, illustrating the extreme danger posed by high-speed, unshielded machinery. The footage shows a worker positioned dangerously close to an operational component of the machine that lacks proper guarding. Compounding the hazard, the worker is seen reaching their hand into the immediate vicinity of the rotating axis. Due to this proximity, the worker is suddenly snagged or pulled violently toward the moving machinery, resulting in an extremely hazardous and close call. This incident powerfully underscores the critical necessity of mandatory, robust machine guarding to eliminate access to all rotating and nip points. It further highlights the non-negotiable requirement for strict enforcement of safe operational zones around all high-speed equipment and absolute adherence to procedures that strictly forbid any personnel interaction with machinery while it is energized and in motion. The video documents a severe industrial failure within an automated manufacturing environment, highlighting the extreme dangers of unauthorized entry into a robotic work cell. The footage clearly shows a worker positioned inside the operational range of a large, active piece of automated machinery, suggesting a failure to observe critical safety guidelines. Suddenly, the heavy, moving arm or component of the automation system forcefully traps the worker against a fixed part of the equipment or structure. This catastrophic incident underscores the non-negotiable need for mandatory physical barriers like safety caging and light curtains to isolate personnel from the automated zone. It further emphasizes the requirement for strict enforcement of lockout, tagout procedures for any human entry into the work cell, and the absolute importance of rigorously programmed safety stop functions to detect and prevent severe crush and pinch point hazards. The video powerfully documents a severe roadside calamity illustrating the extreme, sudden danger posed by vehicles to bystanders. The footage shows a group of individuals standing near the curb of an active road, apparently unaware of the impending threat. Without warning, a large truck loses directional control and veers abruptly, driving directly into the group of pedestrians. While the majority of the people manage to react quickly and escape, one individual is unable to evade the path of the vehicle and is impacted violently by the truck. This incident serves as a critical and non-negotiable reminder of the need for maintaining extreme vigilance and a safe standoff distance when near any active roadway. It further emphasizes the necessity of mandatory separation of pedestrian zones from traffic lanes using robust barriers, and the absolute requirement for focused vehicle control and defensive driving to prevent catastrophic loss of control events. The video documents a severe industrial failure in a machine shop, illustrating the devastating potential of high-speed equipment malfunction. The footage shows a machinist working in proximity to a large lathe that is actively processing a metal workpiece. Suddenly, the workpiece or the chuck assembly experiences a catastrophic structural failure, causing it to violently rupture and fragment. The resulting powerful explosion sends heavy metal components flying, one of which impacts the worker forcefully. This critical incident highlights the non-negotiable need for mandatory, full-perimeter guarding around all high-speed machinery to contain catastrophic failures. It emphasizes the requirement for rigorous, pre-operation inspection of workpiece clamping and spindle integrity to prevent failure from excessive rotational forces, and demands the strict enforcement of a safe operational distance to mitigate the severe impact hazard from high-velocity projectiles. The video documents a dangerous and unexpected incident involving an individual and an automated security gate system. The footage shows a woman attempting to exit a restricted area on a motorcycle or scooter. Rather than dismounting and manually clearing the doorway, she chose to sit on the bike and reverse out. While maneuvering, she activated the automatic lowering function of the gate before fully clearing the threshold. The gate then descended suddenly and forcefully pinned the woman against her motorcycle, trapping both in the doorway. Fortunately, the woman is seen struggling vigorously and successfully escaping the powerful crushing force of the descending barrier. This incident underscores the critical necessity of mandatory adherence to a clear the threshold first safety rule before activating any automatic barriers. It highlights the importance of rigorous inspection and maintenance of all safety sensors on automated gates, and demands that personnel maintain absolute spatial awareness within the operational zones of automated machinery. The video documents a severe industrial incident, illustrating the catastrophic consequences of improper procedure during the unloading of heavy equipment. The footage shows a large excavator slowly maneuvering down from a flatbed truck using ramps. Crucially, as the excavator nearly clears the truck bed, the transport truck suddenly loses critical stability, likely due to the extreme shift in the center of gravity or a failure to properly stabilize the vehicle. This immediate loss of balance causes the entire excavator to tip over and violently roll right next to the truck. This event underscores the non-negotiable need for mandatory use of wheel chocks and external stabilizers to securely anchor the transport vehicle. It further highlights the requirement for rigorous load stability assessments for both the truck and the ramps, and demands strict adherence to a slow, controlled unloading process to keep the combined center of gravity within safe limits at all times. The video documents a catastrophic industrial failure in a foundry or smelting facility, illustrating the extreme dangers associated with handling superheated liquid metals. The footage clearly shows large-scale equipment, likely a ladle or vessel, containing a vast amount of molten steel or similar liquid material. Due to a severe equipment failure or structural breach, the molten material violently and suddenly loses containment. A massive quantity of the glowing, liquid metal is rapidly released, spilling across the floor and adjacent work area, creating an immediate and extreme thermal and flash hazard. This incident powerfully highlights the non-negotiable need for rigorous, scheduled ultrasonic and visual inspections of all high-risk containment vessels. It emphasizes the absolute requirement for strict enforcement of exclusion zones and personnel standoff distances during all hot metal transfer and pouring operations, and the mandatory use of specialized, certified heat-resistant protective gear for all workers in proximity to molten materials. The video captures a severe near-miss incident on a construction site following a cutting operation. The footage shows a worker who has just finished cutting a section of a large wall or frame. The worker then attempts to remove or adjust the cut section without ensuring its stability or secure support. Due to the lack of safety, restraint, or proper bracing, the heavy cut piece suddenly and forcefully collapses, falling directly toward the worker. Fortunately, the worker reacts instantly and narrowly jumps clear of the falling material, avoiding a catastrophic crush hazard. This incident serves as a crucial warning that all materials must be securely braced or supported before final cuts are made, and strict exclusion zones must be maintained around unstable components. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of planning for the weight and release of every structural section to prevent accidental collapse and severe impact injuries. The video shows a severe industrial incident where an unattended forklift, left without its brake engaged, rolled uncontrollably down a road. Despite the immediate efforts of nearby workers to physically stop the heavy machine, its momentum was too great, and the forklift rolled directly into a parked vehicle, causing a significant collision. This incident serves as a crucial warning that mandatory, absolute engagement of the parking brake and wheel chocks is required anytime a forklift is left unattended, emphasizing the need for rigorous operator training on equipment stability and momentum to prevent catastrophic runaway accidents. The video records a sudden and severe accident on a construction or industrial site involving a large mobile crane. The footage shows the crane operating, likely making a major maneuver or attempting a lift. Due to a critical failure in stability, possibly caused by improper outrigger setup or exceeding the load limits, the entire heavy mobile crane suddenly loses balance and tips over violently, crashing its massive boom and structure to the ground. Crucially, a worker who was climbing near the structure at the time of the collapse is forcefully impacted by the falling equipment. This catastrophic incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, full extension and secure setting of all outriggers is non-negotiable before any lift. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of strict adherence to lift planning and load charts to prevent overloading, and the requirement for enforcing wide exclusion zones around the crane's operational radius to protect all ground personnel and anyone operating on the machine itself. The video captures a severe industrial incident in a warehouse or loading area involving a moving forklift and a worker. The footage shows a worker walking within the vehicle's active travel lane where the forklift operator's view may have been obscured, leading to a failure in spatial awareness. Due to this lack of visual separation and awareness, the worker is impacted directly by the moving forklift, resulting in the individual being immediately caught in the heavy vehicle's path and sustaining a severe, localized crush or impact. This incident serves as a critical warning that strict enforcement of clear exclusion zones is mandatory to safely segregate foot traffic from the operating and turning radius of all forklifts. It highlights the absolute necessity for operators to maintain slow, controlled speeds and for ground personnel to avoid moving in or near pinch points and fixed obstacles while heavy machinery is actively moving. The video records a severe industrial incident involving a power press machine in a manufacturing facility. The footage shows a worker operating the press, which utilizes a descending ram to stamp or form materials. Due to a failure to maintain a safe distance or use appropriate feeding tools, the worker's hand is suddenly caught in the machine's operating zone as the ram descends. Fortunately, a second worker stationed nearby quickly intervenes to control the machine and raise the ram, allowing the injured worker to withdraw their hand. This critical incident is a crucial warning that mandatory machine guarding and safety barriers are essential to prevent any body part from entering the operating area. It emphasizes the absolute requirement for strict adherence to lockout, tagout procedures for any non-routine interaction, and the prohibition of bypassing safety mechanisms to eliminate severe crush and amputation hazards. The video captures a severe industrial accident where a crane attempted to lift a heavy steel coil using a hazardous side pull technique, hoist cable, at an angle. The moment the load was lifted, it swung violently and uncontrollably, causing the heavy coil to impact a nearby worker and knocking the individual to the ground. This incident is a critical warning. Side pulling is strictly prohibited. The hoist cable must be positioned directly over the load's center of gravity before lifting, and exclusion zones must be strictly enforced to protect personnel from uncontrolled load movement and crush hazards. The video records a severe traffic collision where a motorcyclist is struck by an unexpected and highly dangerous obstruction in the roadway. The footage shows a rider traveling at speed who collides forcefully with a metal blade or similar fixed object, potentially related to an unsecured forklift load that has encroached onto the traffic lane. The impact is sudden and violent, causing the rider's protective headgear to break and the individual to be violently thrown onto the pavement. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory vigilance and speed reduction are essential when encountering unfamiliar road conditions. It underscores the non-negotiable requirement for securing all materials and components near active roadways to prevent objects from creating severe collision hazards, and re-emphasizes the vital importance of always wearing certified, well-maintained head protection while operating a motorcycle. The video captures an extremely serious industrial incident involving a large, operational machine in a facility. The footage clearly shows a worker positioned directly in the path of the machine's primary moving component, likely during a cleaning or adjustment operation. Due to a clear failure to follow proper safety protocols, the worker is suddenly caught and forcefully impacted by the machine's moving parts. This incident serves as a crucial warning that mandatory lockout, tagout procedures must be rigorously followed to completely de-energize and secure machinery before any worker places any part of their body near moving components. It emphasizes the absolute requirement for maintaining safe operational distances and never bypassing safety guards to prevent catastrophic crush and entanglement with equipment. The video captures an extremely dangerous industrial accident involving the high-pressure inflation of a large tire, likely from a commercial or heavy-duty vehicle. The footage shows a worker positioned near the large tire during the inflation process. Suddenly, the tire or its rim assembly experiences a catastrophic failure and explodes violently. The resulting burst releases massive amounts of stored energy, causing the tire assembly components to be ejected with extreme force, which results in a severe impact with the worker. This incident serves as a crucial warning that mandatory use of specialized safety cages or restraining devices is required for all tire inflation of large commercial or off-road vehicles to contain components in case of failure. It emphasizes the non-negotiable need for rigorous inspection of rims and tires for damage before inflation, and the strict requirement for personnel to maintain a safe standoff distance and never lean over the assembly during this high-risk process. The video captures an extremely hazardous incident involving a professional, likely a utility or emergency worker, who is positioned on an elevated work platform or a rooftop to perform tasks near high-voltage electrical lines. The footage shows the worker conducting a delicate operation in close proximity to the energized power lines. Suddenly, a bright flash and visible electrical discharge occur as the worker or their equipment makes contact with the live line. The individual immediately reacts to the resulting severe electrical shock. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory de-energization of all lines is non-negotiable before any work is performed in such proximity. It emphasizes the absolute requirement to strictly maintain the required minimum safe approach distances and to always use certified insulating tools and appropriate personal protective equipment when working near live electrical infrastructure to prevent catastrophic electrical exposure. The video documents a severe security incident in a yard or warehouse environment involving the intentional misuse of a forklift as a weapon against property and personnel. The footage shows a person operating the forklift in an aggressive and dangerous manner, repeatedly ramming and striking other vehicles and structures. The operator uses the heavy machinery to forcefully assault a passenger vehicle, causing extensive damage and creating an extreme crush and impact hazard for anyone in the vicinity. This incident serves as a critical warning that organizations must have robust workplace violence prevention and de-escalation protocols. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of immediately isolating and deactivating machinery when an individual is demonstrating dangerous or hostile behavior, and the requirement for comprehensive security measures to prevent unauthorized or malicious use of heavy equipment. The video documents a product spill incident in a warehouse resulting from improper material handling and storage practices. The footage shows a forklift operator attempting to move or position a tall pallet stack of products. Because the pallet load was inadequately wrapped and secured, the entire stack immediately lost stability and violently collapsed off the pallet. The falling cargo caused a large product spill across the floor, creating immediate cleanup and a significant slip, trip, and fall hazard, though fortunately, nearby personnel were not impacted. This incident serves as a crucial warning that mandatory, consistent use of securing methods is required for all palletized goods before handling. It emphasizes the need for rigorous training in load integrity to prevent material loss and ensure a safe, navigable working environment. The video captures a severe industrial incident during a heavy lifting operation inside a facility. The footage shows a large, heavy object being suspended and moved by a crane or similar lifting device. Suddenly, the lifting mechanism or rigging fails or malfunctions, causing the massive load to drop instantly and uncontrollably to the ground. The falling object crashes down directly into the working area, creating a huge hazard and a localized severe impact. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, rigorous pre-lift inspection of all rigging components is non-negotiable before any load is moved. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of strict adherence to load charts and enforcing absolute exclusion zones beneath and around any suspended load to prevent catastrophic crush injuries from uncontrolled drops. The video captures a severe near-miss incident during a heavy lifting operation inside an industrial facility. The footage shows a large, heavy steel plate or structural component being lifted and moved by a crane. Due to a clear failure in rigging practices, the load was improperly secured or balanced. As the load was suspended, it suddenly shifted and fell with tremendous force, narrowly missing a worker who was standing dangerously close to the movement area. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, correct rigging procedures must be strictly followed, ensuring the load is perfectly balanced and secured before any lift. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of maintaining a strict exclusion zone around all suspended loads and never standing beneath or near the swing path to prevent catastrophic crush and impact hazards. The video captures a severe construction incident during a heavy lifting operation involving a large, vertical panel or section of formwork. The footage shows a large crane attempting to lift and position the massive panel. Due to improper rigging or poor load control, The panel immediately begins to swing and destabilize violently once lifted. The resulting uncontrolled forces cause the lifting cable or rigging component to suddenly snap, leading to the huge panel collapsing and crashing forcefully to the ground. Fortunately, nearby workers were able to avoid impact and were not struck by the falling material. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, correct rigging and load control procedures are essential for vertical lifting. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of pre-lift planning to ensure load stability and the strict enforcement of personnel exclusion zones to prevent catastrophic crush and impact injuries from unstable or dropped materials. The video captures an extremely serious industrial incident within a heavy machinery facility. The footage shows a worker entering the operating space of a large machine, presumably to perform maintenance or repair work, even though the machine had apparently been powered down. Suddenly, the machine unexpectedly activates or cycles its major moving components. The machinery forcefully clamps down or presses into the worker, severely trapping the individual who was unable to escape the enclosure in time. This incident serves as a crucial warning that mandatory lockout, takeout procedures must be rigorously verified and followed to ensure zero-energy state before any worker enters the danger zone. It emphasizes the absolute requirement for testing the machine's controls after LOTO and never relying solely on a power switch to prevent catastrophic crush and entrapment injuries from stored energy or unexpected machine starts. The video captures a severe industrial accident where a worker was moving a heavy mold using a magnetic lifting device. Due to a failure in the magnetic attachment, the heavy mold suddenly detached and dropped forcefully, striking the vehicle bed. The rebound from the impact violently threw the worker out of the vehicle bed and onto the ground. This incident is a critical warning. Mandatory, rigorous inspection of all lifting attachments, especially magnets, is non-negotiable. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of using certified, appropriate lifting equipment for the load's weight and shape, and strictly enforcing exclusion zones to prevent severe crush and impact injuries. The video captures an extremely serious industrial near-miss in a facility where a worker was performing maintenance on heavy machinery. The footage shows a worker who had opened the machine's safety guard and inserted their head and upper body into the operating enclosure to inspect internal components for maintenance after seemingly de-energizing the machine. However, the machine unexpectedly reactivated or cycled its moving parts. The worker was suddenly caught and forcefully impacted by the machinery's movement, becoming trapped and unable to self-rescue. Fortunately, a second worker stationed nearby quickly ran over and provided immediate assistance, successfully pulling the trapped individual out of the danger zone. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory lockout, tagout, TLO procedures must be rigorously verified to ensure a zero-energy state before any maintenance is performed. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of testing the machine's controls after LOTO is applied and never placing any body part inside unguarded moving components to prevent catastrophic crush and entrapment injuries. The video captures a sudden and severe industrial accident involving a large machine tool in a manufacturing facility. The footage shows a major component, or the head of the machine tool, being lifted or secured when it suddenly detaches and falls from its elevated mounting position. The immense force of the drop causes the part to violently crash into the base of the machine and the floor, creating an extreme crush and impact hazard for anyone nearby. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, rigorous, routine maintenance and inspection of all heavy machine assemblies and support systems are essential. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of immediately establishing safety exclusion zones around malfunctioning or damaged equipment to prevent severe injuries from unexpected structural collapse. The video captures a severe industrial incident involving an operating CNC, computer numerical control machine. The footage clearly shows the machine performing a high-speed machining process while its safety door or protective shield is left open or bypassed. Suddenly, the cutting tool or the workpiece fails, resulting in debris and tooling being forcefully ejected from the machine at high velocity. This creates an immediate and serious impact hazard for anyone in the vicinity. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, absolute compliance with machine safety protocols requires that CNC doors and interlocking guards must be kept fully closed and operational during any machining cycle. It emphasizes the necessity of strictly prohibiting all operations when machine doors are open to prevent high-speed projectiles from causing severe injuries. The video captures a serious construction accident involving two workers performing elevated work and manipulating large structural components. The footage shows the workers interacting with the metal structure high above the ground. Suddenly, a section of the steel framework nearby unexpectedly collapses and falls, striking one of the workers. The impact violently drags the worker down, causing them to fall from the elevated height to the ground. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, rigorous structural integrity checks and shoring must be performed on all elevated frameworks before materials are manipulated. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of strictly enforcing the use of fall protection systems, harnesses and lifelines, and maintaining safe distances from any components that show signs of instability or are actively being dismantled. The video captures a severe construction accident where a section of scaffolding, being pushed for relocation with a worker on it, suddenly snagged, lost stability, and violently collapsed. The worker was thrown from the elevated height and impacted the ground. This incident is a critical warning. Scaffolding must never be moved while occupied. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of disassembling and rebuilding scaffolding for relocation, inspecting the movement path for obstructions, and rigorously enforcing fall protection harnesses for all work performed at height to prevent catastrophic falls. The video captures a severe accident during outdoor construction or industrial work where a worker was performing a task, possibly welding or inspection, on an elevated concrete containment vessel or similar tank. The footage shows the worker climbing or standing on a ladder secured to the vessel. Suddenly, the entire large container or vessel begins to rotate uncontrollably because it was not properly secured or stabilized. The sudden, violent rotation causes the worker to lose their footing and fall from the elevated height to the ground. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory stabilization is absolutely essential for any load or vessel that a worker will climb or stand on. It emphasizes the non-negotiable requirement for rigorous inspection of all securing points and enforcing the use of personal fall arrest systems for all work performed at height to prevent catastrophic falls from unstable structures. The video captures a severe industrial accident involving a lathe machine in a workshop setting. The footage shows a worker operating or moving near the machine's rapidly spinning, rotating components. Due to a critical failure in safety protocols, the worker's loose clothing or an unsecured item suddenly contacts the rotating part. The high-speed rotation causes an immediate and violent entanglement, forcefully pulling the worker toward the machine. This incident results in a severe crush and entanglement injury to the individual. This event serves as a crucial warning that mandatory rules strictly prohibiting loose clothing, jewelry, and long hair near rotating machinery must be rigorously enforced. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of always using appropriate safety guards and maintaining a safe standoff distance from all moving parts on a lathe to prevent catastrophic entanglement and crush injuries. The video captures a severe industrial accident involving two forklifts attempting to transport two long, heavy steel beams or components. The footage shows the forklifts moving in tandem, sharing the massive load. Due to the extreme weight of the beams and a loss of control, the momentum and pushing force from the trailing forklift overwhelmed the leading forklift. The uncontrolled forces caused the leading forklift to lose stability and violently overturn. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory, controlled speed, coordinated movement, and strict adherence to load capacity limits are essential, especially when using multiple machines for a single load. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of using specialized lifting equipment designed for long, heavy loads and prohibiting uncoordinated pushing with forklifts to prevent catastrophic equipment overturns and crush hazards. The video documents a severe industrial accident involving the loading or unloading of a heavy item using a truck's hydraulic tail lift. The footage shows a group of workers attempting to maneuver a large, heavy wheeled or cylindrical object onto the raised platform. Due to insufficient personnel to stabilize the weight and improper tail lift usage, the heavy object suddenly slips off the platform and drops forcefully to the ground. This incident created an extreme crush and impact hazard for the workers and anyone nearby. This event serves as a critical warning that mandatory safety protocols require adequate personnel to secure and guide heavy loads throughout the entire lifting process and prohibit standing directly beneath or within the potential path of a falling load. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of always using appropriate chocks, straps, or restraints to ensure the load remains completely immobilized during elevation and descent. The video captures a severe industrial accident inside a workshop where two workers were closely examining machinery. The footage shows the two workers standing in close proximity to a piece of industrial equipment, possibly performing an inspection or check. Suddenly, there is a large, unexpected explosion or forceful rupture from the machine. The force of the blast violently impacts both workers, exposing them to severe concussive and impact hazards. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory isolation and depressurization, de-energization procedures must be rigorously followed before approaching or inspecting machinery that could contain stored energy or volatile materials. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of maintaining a safe standoff distance and wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, especially eye and hearing protection, to mitigate the risks associated with catastrophic equipment failure. The video captures a serious industrial accident during elevated work using a straight ladder. The footage shows a worker climbing or descending the ladder. Because the ladder was not properly secured at its base and top, it suddenly slides out and collapses away from the supporting structure. The worker falls forcefully from a significant height to the ground along with the ladder, creating a severe impact hazard. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory ladder setup requires a safe angle, 4:1 ratio, and the ladder must be firmly secured at both the top and base to prevent slipping. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of always maintaining 3 points of contact on the ladder and using a personal fall arrest system when performing work at height to prevent catastrophic falls. The video captures a severe construction site accident where a group of workers was attempting to relocate a tall, assembled section of scaffolding. The footage shows the workers moving the elevated structure to a new position. Suddenly, during the relocation, the scaffolding loses stability and completely collapses, falling to the ground. The falling structure violently impacts two workers who were in the immediate vicinity. This incident serves as a critical warning that mandatory scaffolding safety protocols require the structure to be fully dismantled and reassembled rather than moved while standing. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of rigorous adherence to structural stability procedures, inspecting the ground path for unevenness, and strictly enforcing exclusion zones around any unstable or tall structures to prevent catastrophic crush and impact injuries. The video captures a severe accident in a warehouse environment involving a forklift operation. The footage shows a forklift operator moving or raising material that appears to be unsecured or lifted excessively high. Suddenly, the load destabilizes, slips, or falls from the forklift, then collides forcefully with the storage racking system. The powerful impact triggers a widespread cascading collapse of the racks, sending large amounts of product and material crashing to the floor. This created a serious crush and impact hazard in the work area. This event serves as a crucial warning. Mandatory load securement and adherence to safe lifting procedures are essential for maintaining stability. It emphasizes the absolute necessity of strictly inspecting racking integrity and always traveling with loads low to the ground to prevent catastrophic collisions and warehouse collapses.